Deadlock's matchmaking has been a main point of frustration in Deadlock recently, but thankfully, Yoshi has announced a matchmaking/ranked update, and at the time of recording this, it should be releasing in the next week or two. And I want to talk about what I want to see in this update, or if not this update, maybe a future update, all focused on making the matchmaking as great as possible. So without further ado, let's get into my matchmaking wishlist. The biggest things I want to see are a ranked mode and a draft. These go hand in hand, as you can't really have a proper ranked mode without a draft. I'm going to talk about the ranked mode first. I want to see some kind of dynamic ranked point system, where if you lose but you're doing very well, maybe you lose a few less points than you would have otherwise. This has to be carefully done, as I don't want to encourage players to protect their KDA in games where they're behind, and they choose to protect their KDA over trying to make a risky play that might turn the game around. I also want some disconnect protection. If a teammate disconnects from a game, I want to lose maybe half the rank points as I would have normally. I'd also love to see a harsh punishment for people who repeatedly disconnect from games. I would really love to see my rank as a number. I really like how Counter-Strike 2 does the numbers in their premiere mode, but I don't want the number to become what people say their rank is. Say 2,000 or 25,000. I want that to mean you're a phantom player, not a 25,000 player. I also would like to get rid of Eternus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And not just Eternus, but all the ranks. Get rid of the numbers. And it just be Eternus, or Phantom, or Seeker, or whatever it is. I also want to see a top 1000 or a top 500 rank above Eternus. Not that I'll ever get there, but I'd still like to see it just so I can see who the best players are. Now I want to talk about the draft and ban system. I want bans to work kind of like they do in Overwatch, where players will vote for a pick and then it randomly selects from a list with more votes, giving that character like more votes in the role. I'd love to get you some footage of this, but I recently moved off of Windows and onto Linux, and unfortunately Overwatch is one of the few games that doesn't work on Linux, so I can't get any footage of this. The bans will be done before picking and not be like in a tournament style like you'd see in the Deadlock night shift if you've ever tuned into that. And the pick should start with one team gets first pick, then it goes 2 picks to the other team, 2 picks to the first team that picked, and then so on and so forth until everyone has their hero selected. I'd also like to see some roles, that being tank, carry, support, and flex. There shouldn't be like a lock on heroes if you say Q support that you can't pick a tank, because I think that's very limiting. I think adding these roles will really help teams have a more balanced approach rather than just having 6 support players on a team. I think each team will need a minimum of 1 tank, 2 carries, a support, and the last 2 can be any of the other 3 roles, but obviously 2 different ones, so you don't end up with 4 carries, a tank, and a support on the team. Now, I also want to see a limit on the difference in ranked and a party in the ranked mode. This will avoid situations where Eternus players are queuing with their Seeker friends and it just destroys the game for everyone. It's just not fun to play that. Obviously this is an extreme example, but you get the point. This is exactly what the non-ranked mode would be for as well. I'd also love to see a solo duo only mode, but having 3 different queues isn't exactly what I want. So instead, I would like to see a solo queue player play against other solo queue players, where the matchmaker prioritizes getting solo queues against solo queues and tries to match, say, a 4-stack against another 4-stack. It's very infuriating as a team of 6 solos going into a coordinated 6-man. Like, I just want to avoid that situation entirely. I'd also love a harder crackdown on smurfing, and there is a difference between smurfing and a second account, but I do understand that it can be really hard to tell the difference between the two. An alternate account is just that. It's a second account that you can play on and try your best. These things can be like challenge accounts, like only 1 character and seeing how high ranked you can get. But this is a thin line, and I would definitely understand if alt accounts are also banned. I feel that if there's no other way to help combat smurfing, I'm willing to give up the ability to have an alt account. I think ranked should be locked to players unless they have 50 non-ranked games. Deadlock is a very complex game, and not even 50 games is enough to fully understand what you're doing, but this will help eliminate some of those smurfs Plus, during your unranked games, you can get calibrated and it'll understand that, oh, this is not a new player. So that by time they unlock ranked, the system will already know that this is not a new player and that their placements should start much higher than it would an actual brand new player. Something else I'd love to see is the trust system from Counter-Strike. Players that have a lot of games and few reports and disconnects have higher trust rating, and the game prioritizes putting higher trust players with other high trust players. This can damage the new player experience, as all the new accounts with low trust are going to end up being thrown in with the players who disconnect all the time, and players who are being constantly reported for being toxic or suspicions of cheating. So there is a balance to be had. Maybe a new account can start with a bit of trust, and that could help combat this somewhat. But again, I understand it's somewhat of a slippery slope because we want to have the new player experience be really good. Now, there are still a bunch of things that I didn't talk about that are important to a rank system, like doing your placements and how will those work out. Is there going to be a seasonal ranked reset like some other games have? So if you have any ideas you'd like to share, please leave them down in the comments, as I'd love to have a chat about your own ranked wishlist. Or come and check out my Discord link in the description, where we can chat about all things Deadlock. I also want to offer free coaching for players who want it, but that's going to be all for this video. Okay, bye.